Hello again, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the Chicago Blackhawks of the NHL, continuing with Chicago Week. So the Blackhawks are currently sitting third in the West right now with a 38-21-5 record, so that's equal to 81 points. When you look at teams' points in the NHL, you get 2 points for a win and 1 point for a overtime loss. So when you win in overtime, it is also still just 2 points. So getting to overtime is still good because you'll at least get a point for making it to overtime, but you want to get that extra point they'll talk about when you win in overtime. So that's how a team has 81 points. So with the 38 wins they have, that would equal 76 points, and then you throw in their 5 overtime losses, there's their 81 points, just to kind of explain how a team's points are calculated and how that is figured out. So most recently, we also had the NHL trade deadline, and the Blackhawks made a few moves. I think the main reason they had to make a few moves was because their position they're in order to maintain a strong position and make a good playoff push and finish the season off strong. You have to find a way to continue without Patrick Kane, with Patrick Kane being out 6 to 8 weeks with an injury. He's not a player that you can easily replace, obviously. He's got 27 goals, 37 assists, 64 points this season before he got hurt, which was, top 5, top 10 in most categories in the league with points and goals, assists. So that's not somebody you can easily replace, obviously, but you got to find players who can step in and have an impact on your team. So Antoine Vermette is a player they traded for. They gave up Klaus Dahlbeck, who's a defenseman, and a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. But Vermette has 13 goals and 22 assists for 35 points this season, so that's good. They also got defenseman Kimmo Timonen, who hasn't played yet this season because he's had blood clot issues, but he should be making a comeback soon. They gave up a second-round pick in the 2015 draft and a fourth-round pick in the 2016 draft. They also picked up Spencer Abbott, who's a forward, in exchange for their defenseman TJ Brennan. So Vermette and Timonen are clearly going to be the two guys who are going to make an impact on the team. Vermette can't replace Kane for sure. Their stats aren't anywhere close to each other, nor are they the same category of player and league type of player. But Vermette is a good guy who you can have on your team. Unfortunately, you did have to give up a first-round pick for him next year, which could be a little rough, giving up a high pick like that. But you can find talent in late rounds, and if you want to try to win a Stanley Cup this year, then you have to give up picks. You have to find a way to do that, and they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup 3 times in 6 years if they do it again. They won it back in the 2009-2010 season, and then most recently in the 2012-2013 season. So obviously, if they can win it in the 2014-2015 season, 3 in 6 years, that's really good. They also won the President's Trophy, which is the team who finishes the league with the highest amount of points in the regular season. They also won that in the most recent year. They won the Cup back in 2012-2013 season. So 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years is pretty impressive. That shows how good a team the Blackhawks are. So if you have to give up a first-round pick for Vermette, that's not the end of the world. That's okay because you do have players that I'm going to look at their roster, looking at players that were born after 1990. So these are all players that are younger than me who are now NHL players. That's really neat. If you're following me on Twitter, it's at GHAM614. 614 is June 14th for my birthday, kind of thing. So all these players are younger than me. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you my exact age, but all these guys are younger than me because they were born in 1990. So, they got Andrew Shaw, who was born in 91. David Rundblad, who's a defenseman, who was their first-round pick back in 2009. He was born in 1990. He's got a plus 16 rating this year as a defenseman, which is really good. You got Teuvo Teravainen, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I apologize. He was born in 94, so he's a really young kid. He was their 2012 first-round pick. So these are first-round picks that they've made that are now making an impact on the team. Looking at other forwards they got Marcus Kruger, who was born in 1990, Joachim Nordstrom, who was born in 92, and Brandon Saad, who was born in 92, who of all these young guys is producing the most for the team. He's got a 20-goal, 23-assist season, so that's really good, and he hasn't missed a game yet this year either, 64 games played. So you got young guys there that you can continue to build around and continue future success with the team. But the other guys you have on your roster, they're not old guys. You have older guys, some veterans that these young guys can learn from for sure. But Kane, when he gets back from injury, he's still a young guy. He's been in the league for a while, but he's nowhere close to retirement age or anything like that. Same with Jonathan Toews. He's got a 21 goal, 32 assist season. Patrick Sharp, 10 goals, 22 assist season, so that's good there. Versteeg, 13 goal, 18 assist season. In 44 games played, so Versteeg's missed a little bit of gameplay, so that's why his stats are down a little bit because he's missed a few games. Looking at the defense, you still got Seabrook, who's got 7 goals, 21 assists. Duncan Keith, 7 goals, 30 assists, plus 18 rating there, and Duncan Keith. The plus-minus rating, not too many teams look into it a heck of a lot. I talk about it a little bit. Again, you want a plus rating over a minus rating. If you have a plus 10 rating, I'll just use that as an example. It means you've been on the ice for 10 more goals that your team has scored than scored against you. If you have a minus 10 rating, it means you've been on the ice for 10 goals scored against you more than you've scored. Hopefully, I've explained that well. So you want your defensemen to have plus minus ratings in the high pluses and the mid-teen pluses, at least for sure, because that shows that your defense is doing their job. They're keeping the puck out of the net. They're helping out your goalie. And Corey Crawford is a great goalie for sure. 25 wins. He's got a 2.29 GAA and a 920 save percentage. So that's a goalie that can work for you in the playoffs, can take you on a deep playoff run, especially when you got guys ahead of you that are going to be scoring the goals and getting the puck in the net. Like I said, Brandon Saad, Jonathan Toews, and Patrick Kane, now that he's hurt, however, those three guys already have 20 goals this season. Marian Hossa, who I haven't mentioned yet, he's got 18 goals and 29 assists. So he's another guy that can be a 20-plus goal scorer for you. Brad Richards, another veteran on the team, he's got 9 goals, 23 assists. So there's another guy that's producing for you as well. I don't think he'll get a 20-goal season. Versteeg only has 13 goals, so 7 goals is manageable for him. So you might see him have a 20-goal season. So that's good. You at least have 4 guys that are gonna have 20-plus goal seasons. If Kane was playing the rest of the season, he could have had a 35 to 40 goal season, which would have been sick. But unfortunately, he's hurt now, so that's why they've made those trades, picked up Vermette and Tiemann to try to make that playoff push and get there. Because losing a guy like Kane does hurt your team. A lot of people were thinking, are they still going to make the playoffs now that Kane is out? They're still going to make the playoffs. They're third in the West. And picking up Versteeg and Tiemann, you pick up some veterans there who are going to produce for your team and make an impact. And you're giving up picks for that, yes, but picks are for the future. And when you've won the cup, already 2 times in 09 and 2010, and then again in 2012, 2013, you want to try to win it again. Get a dynasty almost going. Kind of thing, which I feel they already have. Especially if they can get 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years, that's really impressive. If they don't get to it this year, I don't think the trades, giving up their picks and getting Vermette and Tiemann are going to go as a bust. Kind of thing. I don't think that'll be the case. Picks are for the future. And I think even if if they did keep their first round pick this year, it was going to be a late pick anyway. It was at least bare minimum going to be 20th or something. So, which you're still going to get good talent with a 20th overall pick. But with the roster they have, yes, they have some veterans that are nearing retirement, but you got young guys on your team that are producing for them. Especially like I said with Brandon Saad, and then you want to see what Teuvo Tiernan can do. David Rundblad on the defense. He's a young kid that's gonna do things for you in the future. So even if they did draft a kid with their first pick this upcoming year, he'd probably be playing in the OHL or in the minors for another two seasons minimum before you'd see him in a Blackhawks uniform. So it's not the end of the world losing a pick like that. Again, like I said, it would have been at least 20th overall. It's not like they gave up a first-round pick this upcoming year that was a top 10 pick. Then it might have been a little crazy for them to make that trade, but making the playoffs, making a deep run, the lower and lower your pick's going to get. So it's not the end of the world. I think the 2015 second round pick might hurt them a little more, kind of thing, because now you don't have a pick in the first or the second round, kind of thing. But with the scouting you have nowadays, you can find kids who play overseas in Russia or Slovakia, or hockey powerhouse countries that are overseas in Sweden, for example, who can make an impact on your team, kind of thing. And when you have a team that's successful, veteran players are also a little more likely to want to play for you. So when it comes to free agency, you can sign players for free agency, especially veterans players like guys like Marian Hossa, Brad Richards, those kind of guys who are nearing the end of their career. If they haven't won a cup yet, they're gonna want to win one before they retire and want to leave the game. Kind of thing. Individual stats are great, but any NHL player will tell you they would give up winning MVP honors and having 50 goal seasons all the time if it meant they could win the Stanley Cup just once. So you're gonna get veterans players who are gonna be interested in joining your team if you have success and show like we won the cup this past year, we've won it 3 times in 6 years. Veteran players are gonna want to come and play for you, and probably take a pay cut to come and play for you. They might be able to make 5+ million playing for a team that's struggling and still rebuilding, but they might come and play for you for only 3 because they know they could get the cup with you, kind of thing. So free agency is also where they can find players. It doesn't have to be through the draft, but like I said, with the success they're having now, with the young guys they have, whoever they would have drafted in the first and second rounds would have been late, late round picks, and probably 2 or 3 years away from even making an impact on their team as it is. So, like I said, not having that first or second round pick, the first one probably not a big deal, especially if you make the playoffs because it was going to be late. It would have been nice to have a pick in the second round, kind of thing. And I'm just basing it off of these are the 2 picks they trade. They maybe do have more than one first and second round pick. I haven't looked into that, so that could be the case. But as of right now, if those were the only picks they had in the draft, now they don't have a top 60 pick. The first pick they have is going to be somewhere in the mid 80s to early 90th overall kind of thing, which you can still find a guy in the top 100 who's going to make an impact. But again, these guys are going to be 2-3 years away, which is fine with the roster you have. You don't want another project right now, especially with a healthy Kane. You got Taves, Versteeg, Patrick Sharp, Seabrook, Duncan Keith. You got all these guys who aren't anywhere close to your retirement and are still producing for your team. And you want to see what Tavo can do as well. It's hard to bring in young guys when you got all these stars on your team, like the guys I've previously mentioned, and see how they can make an impact, because they're not going to get a lot of ice time. They're not going to see a lot of puck, because these guys are going to get the ice time. Like Kane, he's a 30-goal scorer for you. He's going to be getting the ice time. He's going to be getting the touches. He's going to be getting the looks. So you don't want to have a lot of projects on your roster, kind of thing, especially when you look at teams like the Buffalo Sabres, for example, struggling team. You see a lot of AHL players that are playing now on their team because they traded away a lot of guys. You see a lot of young guys. That's fine. That's where they're at, is they're rebuilding. They want to look at these young kids. These young kids are going to get some playing time. The Blackhawks aren't in a rebuilding stage. They're not in a let's bring in some young kids and see what they can do phase at all. They're in our roster is awesome right now. Kane's lost to injury. We got to find players who can make an impact and not replace him, but can step in for him while he's out, and then also can give us a nice little boost during the playoffs. For Matt and Timonen are going to do that for sure. So good luck to this Blackhawks and the rest of the season. Hopefully they have a deep playoff push. Kane gets back quick from injury, and I will talk to you tomorrow, finishing off Chicago week, about the Chicago Bulls of the NBA. Thanks again. Bye.